My name is Kanisha, founder and minister of S.Q Ministries. I wanted to do a testimony video. I believe that it is very crucial, very important for people to know where you have been, where you are currently going, and what the goals are, because we always have room to continue to strive and to improve. So I wanted to do a testimony video, and I initially was going to do me behind the camera and talking to you. As you will hear in the testimony, that is one of my strongholds. Not a fan of it. I struggle with anxiety. So I will, by the grace of God and the strength of God, be able to get to that point. So in the meantime, I ask that you bear with me as I continue just doing materials this way. And I'm pretty good with the facilitating piece and doing meetings and things like that. It seems like I'm better with that versus being on a platform like YouTube. So I will gradually get to that. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that. I thought it would be interesting versus just hearing my voice. If you've seen a collage of pretty much a summary of things I have been through, it just kind of gives you a glimpse of things when I was struggling, when I was at my lowest, to when I was just, God finally put his hand in the situation, and I was finally kind of going in the path that he wanted me to go and to where he has me right now. So I feel like it kind of emphasizes my point, my story. So I did not want I'm going to call it a stronghold, so to speak, to get in the way of what God wanted me to do, which was tell my testimony. So I'm just going to go ahead. So if you know who I am, I also have a business called Speaking Queen Services, and that's how things started. It was like a God calling thing for me as well. And it was kind of presented to me in a really messed up time. So I did not answer the call. I did not answer the call because most of my life I have people pleased. I have struggled, with undiagnosed mental health conditions. I have lost, and I have not been accepted. I have been rejected at home, and I was rejected at school. And so as someone who always walked around not feeling loved and was told if you did show love or compassion or vulnerability, that is weak, that is a sign of weakness, you get to a point where you got to cope somehow. And that's kind of where addictions played a role. It is huge in my family, by the way, but that was my coping skill for a long time before I even realized that was not a healthy coping skill. So I have been through so much, and it seems like when I was younger, I kind of just didn't let things get to me. And I was just this bubbly, outgoing person, and I did not let things get to me. And I should have, but it didn't get to me. So I feel like at that point, God was definitely there. He was there. I was happy. It didn't matter what happened. I was happy, and I wanted to be there for people, and I wanted to just, nothing fazed me. And then when I was a teenager, Speaking Queen Services came into play when I was just journaling, and I didn't realize that I was writing about this business, that the business as well as this ministry. Like, I didn't realize that I was writing this down. Like, I literally wrote everything down in details, and it was out of nowhere. I just was like, okay, I want to do this. I want to help people. I want to do a lot of community stuff. Like that's what my mindset was at. And I think I was about 14 at this point when I was writing this down, and I could visualize and see myself doing these things. So I feel like God was letting me know at a young age that this is what I'd be doing. And it was interesting because I never believed in myself. And I didn't really have that many people that did believe in me. And if they did, it was like they were doing the whole tough love thing. So um, I do believe that does work for some people, but for me, it did not. I was very, very, very sensitive. Even now, I do feel that there is some sensitivity there, and I think you have to go off of a person's style and how they are, like how they deal with stuff, their personality. You have to adapt how you are with people with just who they are. So it's not, coming off one way and it's something else. So I never got that. I was always tough love all down the line. Like it was not like some here, some there. And when I did get actual love, I didn't know, it was foreign to me and it was weird. But then I always gravitated towards that through friends and things like that. And I was, I was looking for that from friends, families, and I didn't realize it. I was wanting that. I wanted that love that I never fully got. And so I always felt like I had to work for it, or I had to impress somebody, or I had to go through hoops or something, or I had to compete for it. So the second time that it came around again, my calling and my purpose came when I just um, got out of jail, because I was in jail, and it was a toxic relationship and it was a toxic situation, and I lost myself. That was my lowest point. Well, I thought so, but that was my lowest point at that time. It was my lowest point, and it was like I've never lost myself, and to that extent. So it was like my wake up call. God tried to present it to me again, the stuff that what I'm doing now, the ministry and the business. And I'm like, yeah, right. There's no way. So he's been, like I've stated before, if it's something God wants you to do, he's going to keep on nudging you about it. And if it's your calling, definitely if it's your calling, it's going to keep coming up. So, I mean, it's up to you to take it, obviously. And at this point, it was not even a question of if I should, because it was like, seriously, I just got out of jail. I just lost myself on a whole nother level here. And you're talking about doing this. So it just made no sense to me at all. Like, and that was the last thing I was going to do. I didn't feel like I was qualified. I didn't feel like I was worthy of doing anything like that. And I was still young. So I wasn't even hearing that. So I just took it as, okay, just go back to school, get some therapy, trying to like figure out myself out, because I never wanted that to happen again. At this point, I had kids from previous relationships, and I've been through so much. I was a teen mom. I've been through so much. I have been betrayed by people that I thought cared, people that took on roles that, um, of people, they took on those roles. They took on that guardian role. They took on, they knew I was not receiving that. They knew I didn't have the support, and they knew I did not have that love. So they knew they didn't have to do much. They just had to show up or ask me questions, and everything would come out, because they knew I didn't have that. They knew I didn't have a spiritual foundation, let alone an actual support system at that time. So I had to learn the hard way. I had to lose loved ones in the process. That not everybody that smiles and they do stuff for you. I mean, these people, they taught me how to drive, helped me figure out to get my first apartment. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, that's the type of betrayal it was. And it was like, are you kidding me? Call child protection, like petty stuff. And so just to get my attention. So it was like, I was in denial. Even after all that, I was still in denial. Like, no, there's no way. There's no way. This person, how could they do all that and then do that? So I was in so much denial for a long time. And then I think once, my loved ones were taken away, and I think once, just the malicious behind it, the malicious intent when I started seeing a lot of that, it was just like if anybody did show me any type of love, I had issues with lust. That was part of my addiction was lust. And I hold on to it like white on rice. I held on to it. I wanted to hold on to it because it was like, hey, this person loves me. This person wants me. And even if they didn't know how to love me the way I wanted to be, it didn't matter. They loved me. That's all that mattered. They wanted me. That's all that mattered. And I never felt wanted. And that's all I wanted. So I hung on to those people. It did not matter if it was toxic. I thought, well, I'm a fighter, so if I got to fight to keep this together, I'm a fight, and that's how I was. That was the mentality. I thought that was normal. So it was so much trauma, so much toxic relationships that I thought this was normal, thought was healthy. So much neglecting of myself. Like I didn't even know how to love myself. I didn't even like myself. I didn't even accept myself. I was so dependent on other people accepting me and loving me and wanting me. I wanted it so bad. I didn't even have a chance to figure out what I wanted, who I was, if I even had a spiritual foundation. And people were so used to me screwing up, because I was that person. I was the one that just kept popping kids out, is what they're calling it. I'm that person. I'm the prodigal. I'm the underdog, in the family. That's me. I'm the one that people they like to gossip about me. They like to say, oh yeah, girl, she's on baby number this. You know what I'm saying? Like that's who I am. And so that's what I'm sorry. That is what I claimed. That's not who I am. Got to rephrase that. That's who I was. I felt like, well, if, I didn't plan it, but it was like, you know what? It happened and it kept happening. And it's like, you know what? Well, this all happens for a reason. And I rolled with it. I didn't think it was an issue, and people used it against me and people just kept using things that I did impulsively against me. And instead of being there and loving me and supporting me and being like, what can we do? Like, what needs to be done? Like, what's the problem? Like, if you're hurting, talk to me. Or if you need support, let's do it together. Let's go to therapy. Let's do something. Let's go to a pastor, something. I didn't get that. I just got judged and I got watched, and I still get watched to this day. Hello, by the way, if you're listening. And people just they're good. I honestly, and this is why I feel like this testimony is so important, because I know there's a lot of people like myself out there that they're like, you know what? I hear what you're saying, Kanisha, but I've been doing this for so long, and people, they just don't expect much of me, and I've messed up for so long. There's no way God's going to help me out, or there's just no way I'm going to do better than what I'm doing right now. And I'm telling you, the people that are putting that in your head or whispering that in your ear, you need to drop them, because that is not healthy. And yes, sometimes that means you got to drop family. Unfortunately, a lot of my support was not blood. And even to this day, it's not blood. And unfortunately, that is going to be the case. And there's some things that we do have control over, and that's just how we move forward, the present, and how we're going to create, our future. But we can't do it on our own. And I had to learn that the hard way, because I love to have control, apparently, and I kept doing my own thing. So even after all the losses, God just kept like being there, but was like, it kept being there, and I didn't even know, like, things could have just really, really went left, and it didn't. So there was protection in all of that. Me rebelling. I mean, I'd be drunk and defending God. People would talk stuff. I'd be hanging out with some atheist or something, and I'd be like drunk, like, well, Jesus is our savior, so I don't know about you. Like, I'm drunk saying this, okay? So even when I was at my worst, I was still like, God was still doing his thing. Like, he was still doing his thing. Like, he still was there. Jesus was still there, even though I was at my worst. And it's just amazing. I had to go through so much And I think that it's some of us that are the prodigals, some of us that are so stubborn, we have to. Sometimes they were like, well, why did I have to go through all that? Sometimes that is required to obtain the skills that are required for the next chapter. Is it butterflies and rainbows to be on the path of the Lord? No, it's pretty much the opposite. You're going to get attacked more, but it does not mean to not go on the path, because at the end of the day, you're going to have the peace, you're going to have that protection, you're going to have that love, you're going to have all the things that you keep searching for in this life. It's a good trade-off at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So yeah, Satan's going to attack. He's not a fan. And believe me, that has happened. I have dealt with, mental health, anxiety, depression, all of it. Um, Low self-esteem, holding on to toxic things. It was so bad. I'm holding on to people I wasn't even attracted to. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even want the person. I just wanted the addiction. You know what I'm saying? Like that person represented the addiction. I just wanted that. And I wanted that person just to want me. Didn't have to want to have a relationship with me, just wanting me. I just wanted to be wanted. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be desired. That was the main theme of my life. I've never received that. There's one thing to tell somebody you love them and you'll always be there for them and you will fight for them and all this other stuff. But if sometimes maybe they did really try to love you, it's not always enough. And if it wasn't genuine, you're going to feel that. And if that person was part of the track in the back of your head, if you think you're not good enough or think you're not worthy, it's hard to replace that with positives if that person was the person doing the negative. So on my journey, I'm learning that I have to forgive not only others, but myself, and to erase a lot of what was happening. So by doing that was the renewal. So a lot had to happen. It was a lot of bad before it got to this point. So I went to jail. I was not on board with the whole doing my business at that point, but I did end up volunteering. So I was like, all right, God, let me just try this and see if this is if this is even something that's going to work out. When I said drag my feet, I was dragging my feet. I volunteered for years, guys, at nonprofits, and I actually ended up getting community service hours too. So because I'm a community service personality, that was nothing. I actually enjoyed it and got off early. I got off probation early because of that. I finished everything. I completed everything. It was my only offense. I didn't have to stay on it for long. Did that piss the people off that want to see me fail? They want to still see me struggle? It did. So now they just watch me. They watch me then, they're watching me now. I even have people that are close to me that they keep their eye on me, and it does something to them if I do well. If I accomplish things, if I do things that they would never do, it does something to them. And I've said this before in Obstacle Warriors podcast that I have. I've said this before. How people act and treat you, and if they're not supportive, it's not about you, it's about them. And that is the case. That is definitely the theme of my life. I have been such a prodigal and a underdog and all of the above most of my life, that when God finally was like, you know what, I've been doing this and I've been in it and I've been protecting you and I've been working with you, but now it is time to switch this up. You know what I'm saying? Because I would have just kept going. I'm not going to lie to you. I would still be doing it to this day. And I think when I finally was like, okay, this is something I need to take to another level with the business piece, I think it was the people that came to me and said, your story was so inspirational. I cannot believe you went through all that and you're sitting here talking to us. I would have been rocking in a corner somewhere, all the things you've been through. And I think to know that it made a positive impact was like, okay, God, you got my attention. So, in 2016, I decided to do my business and to look in it, to actually, make it official. And so I thought that was it. Like, I'm good to go. I still had issues though. I still struggle with my addictions. I still was struggling with self-love. I thought that I was doing that part with my self-esteem and everything by doing the business, but no, I still neglected so much. So fast forward, what I ended up doing is a parent of mine that I already had a closure with him prior to losing him. He passed away last year, around this time, so February actually, and it'll be a year. And I already had my closure with him. I let him know I forgave him and that I hope he forgives me for, being the doubter that I was, and that um, I didn't know how I was going to be with him moving forward relationship wise. I don't know yet, but I just wanted to let him know that I love him and that I forgive him, and I just let it go. And he dealt with addiction as well. So I didn't hold that anymore. A lot of that, why am I not wanted and chasing and all that, was a lot of that came from him. So I think I just avoided any type of relationship with him. Um, so I finally let that go, and that was good timing because I lost him just recently. So there was a part of me that was like, wow, God, thank you for giving us that opportunity to talk. But then there's the other part that feels sad, that I wish I would have tried to have that relationship because he kept trying, and I really wish I would have done it because he he tried the best that he could. He tried to do the best he could for where he was in his life, and we can't always take things personal. And in my journey, I took everything personal. And I was told a lot of the times if something went wrong, it was my fault. So I always took everything personal. Even to this day, I would still take some things personal. It wasn't even about me. So now, this version of me is like, wow, I could have tried to have some type of healthy relationship with him. That would have been the true definition of growth for me, at least. But it did not happen. So I think after that, it was my wake up call. And I think when I was told I had a fatty liver, and I just, I gained so much weight, I just have not been healthy. I'm like, all right, I knew at that point that was my reality check. Like, okay, you know what? My wake up call. I need to do something. God, you need to help me out. Like, I don't know what else to do here. I don't want, I got two kiddos that I'm raising, and I don't want them to think this is as good as it's going to get. And, mommy just has mood swings because I never did things in front of them. So it's like, oh, mommy just has a mood swing or whatever. It was really mom was hungover. So I didn't want that for them. I didn't want that, for my loved ones that were taken away. I didn't want that to continue being my story. And it was for years. I just kept doing the same stuff, not realizing the thing that that separated me from my loved ones, the things I was doing it. I was sabotaging myself. It was nobody else's fault but myself. Like I was sabotaging everything. So then shortly after losing my dad, I'm not even kidding, I think it was weeks later, I almost lost my life to COVID. And at that point I fully surrendered. I'm like, you know what, I can't. At this point I was already like, I was journaling to God, like to Jesus. I was doing all that, like, okay, we're gonna make this work, we're gonna do this. Then I got sick, and it was like, whoa, I'm only like a week into this. So this is what, like, it was like, you got to trust me. I know you're only a week into this, but you got to trust me. It's like, what? No. So I had to trust them. I literally, everything I kept trying to reach out, trying to get medication treatment, they said, sorry, you're on an oxygen machine. We can't help you. Good luck. And it's like, what? This is my life. What do you mean good luck? So I freaked out at first. I'm like, you know what? All right, you know what? I have no choice but to fully surrender right now. So I did. I put I hit my hands in the air, put worship music on, blasted, and that's all I did. And just kept praying and kept praying. Even though I couldn't breathe, it took me everything just to walk across the room. It took everything. And I just could not breathe. And it's like, as soon as I did that, I'm to kid you not, it was like such a quick turnaround and recovery. And it was like, God was like, okay, now I can do what I wanted to do all along. So it was like, as soon as I fully surrendered, I do still have to surrender daily, and I still have issues with control. So again, I'm in the middle. I'm not where I want to be. But after I gave him that door and I said, God, do what you got to do, I surrender, please. This cannot be it. This cannot be my end. Then what ended up happening was I had this strong urge of getting baptized by immersion of water. That just kept coming up. I tried a couple times. It got shut down. It finally happened. It finally happened when I made an amends to the people that I shut out of my life. So again, he was working, and he was working on many things at once that I didn't even know he was working on. So the people that I was not talking to, I mean, I was in isolation. I didn't have no friends, which was weird because I was that personality that always had some type of friends. So that was my first time not having that, being alone and isolated, doing things I wasn't supposed to do. So it's like that was the first thing. I went to the recovery groups, and then he's helped me admit, like he brought out literally, I'm not even kidding, he brought all these people back in my life months later, and we're still in each other's lives. It's been a year now, and that's what he was waiting on me to make the amends. And those people I made the amends to came to the baptism. So as you can see that in the picture there, the baptism, I had a full-blown panic attack that day, but you would have known in that picture. We both did. The woman in that picture as well, we both were having anxiety, and so the devil was mad. He was like, what, you know what I'm saying? I had you. What are you doing? Nope. So I was determined. So that was my third attempt to get baptized, and it finally got done August 7th, 2022. So I thought that was just a huge step. I was cool with that. Like, that was good. I'm like, okay, God, we did good. Let's good. I'm thinking we're done, like, well, I got my business, and, I don't know how things are going to look now. So I'm like, I'm going to give my business to you. I don't know what you want me to do now. I don't have the same mentality. I don't know how you want me to move forward with this. So that's when the ministry just started outlining. I started outlining things for the ministry. I'm like, oh, the underdogs. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely me. Oh, not feeling love. Yeah, definitely. So it's like, it just all kind of came out. All of the things I have struggled with in my life became my business, my purpose, my God purpose business, and the ministry. All of the things I have struggled with, it end up being the thing that's going to be a platform or a tool to help other people, because I'm not going to be the only one, and I'm not going to be, I'm not the only one. I'm not going to be the last person to go through the things I've been through, or worse. But not feeling love, not knowing who you are, and just being attracted to just toxic situations, letting people just use you, and just really not caring about yourself. That just kept coming up. I was not caring about myself. I didn't even like myself. So I did DBT, and then I was doing all this, recovery stuff. So it's like, I'm still doing DBT. I'm still in my recovery things. Like, I'm still doing all the things I was doing before. And I was like, wow, God, this is a lot. Like, this is a lot. You had me doing a lot of things, and it was overwhelming. And I had my moments where I was really overwhelmed, but he's doing a lot, because there's a lot that needs to be done. There's a lot that needs to be worked out. And there's a lot of stuff I just never dealt with. I never dealt with any of this stuff. I was always numb. I never wanted to deal with my feelings, never wanted to deal with my losses, never wanted to deal with any of that stuff. And addiction and love and identity and purpose just kept coming up in my life. That was the theme. And now that I know my identity is in Christ, and now that I know my worth is in Christ, now that I know my purpose again is in Christ, that, as you see the theme there, all the things I wanted, all the things I was chasing, everything that I thought I wanted, it was all in him this whole time. And it's a beautiful love story. And my testimony, I feel like, with him, it's like, he was there through the worst. He didn't have to be. He was there through it all. And he was still trying to be there, even when I went through all the losses I've been through. Guys, I've been through a lot of losses, and he was there. And I had to keep going through a few more losses, unfortunately, because, like I said, prodigal. So it got to that point where I was like, all right, I got baptized. We should be good to, nope, you're not done. It was like, nope, that's just part of what you're about to do. Then the ministry, like I said, came along, and then it was like, yep, this is what I want you to do. So I have no idea how this is going to play out. I just was obedient and put it out there. I just put on a Facebook page like a few days ago, and we got like about 60, I think, followers, 60 something followers. And it's just been up for like a week. I don't even think I had that many on my business. Well, not that first week. I'm not even kidding. Like, I know where it's at now, but where it was at before, no. It took like months for me to even get 10 likes and follows. So I'm just like, wow. So I noticed when you're in alignment with what God wants you to do, things accelerate. And things work out. So I have no idea how he's going to use me with this, but it's just interesting how I'm letting go. I have no idea what's going to happen, and that's a good thing because I always want to know the details. I want to know what's happening. It's part of my anxiety. He's like, nope, you got to trust me. Just like you trusted me to get you through all the other stuff, you got to trust me with this. So again, it's a daily thing. You don't just do a prayer and get baptized and then you're done. It is a daily thing you have to do. You have to commit to Jesus on a daily basis. You have to make the daily decision to continue the path regardless of circumstances and people, regardless of the situations. It's a daily dedication, a daily thing. Okay. I'm emphasizing because it's true, daily. And again, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm nowhere where I was. I am now 10 months sober from alcohol, 7 years abstained from relations. Purity now is where I'm going with it. And now I'm just waiting on my God ordained marriage that is on the way. So it's just so many things that are going to be coming to pass, that have come to pass. So many things that's happened, and so I am so proud to be at this point where it's like, you know what, the old me would have been like, this girl crazy, but now it's like, you know what, that's fine. They thought Jesus, they thought he was crazy. You know what I'm saying? That they called him an outcast. He was the outcast person. He was the underdog. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's nice to know that us followers have that in common with him, because people aren't going to accept us and people will think we're crazy. And that's fine. It's not about them. It's about our relationship with Christ. It's not about the religion. It's about the personal relationship with Christ and the daily dedication to continue on the path and to continue letting him have his way with our life, with our loved ones, with everything, just everything, not just bits and pieces, but with everything. And is it easy? No. And so I think I'm so proud with S.Q. Ministries that that's going to be a big part of it for those who struggle like myself, for those who have been on the other end of this like myself, for those who think that God cannot meet you where you are. That's a lie, because that's what he did. He met me exactly where I was and he turned it around. And I kept hearing that song before it got to that point. For the good, that song kept coming on the radio, and I'd be like, okay, that sounds great. But it was like a warning, letting me know, hey, everything's going to turn out for the good. And I got things that I need you to do. We need to get this going. We need to heal you and get you on the correct path so you can do what I have ordained you to do. So now I am officially a minister, which I had that calling for years, guys. I was told this since 2000. I'm going to say 2009. Yes, since 2009, I was prophesied over. I was told over and over again. Heard it from the Word, God himself. I'm not even kidding. It just kept coming up over and over again. Ministry. I'm thinking like, oh, a ministry, that's cool, because ministry can be anything. I'm also a small group leader. So I thought I fulfilled that. Like, oh, I'm a small group leader. Cool. So it seems like every time I be thinking, because I'm more behind the scenes person, if you can't tell. So every time I keep thinking it's a little thing, or like, or not a little thing. Every time I keep thinking it's one thing. It's like, no, that's a part of what I want you to do, but that's not the whole thing. No, I want you to, I'm thinking bigger. And I'm like, what? It's like, no. Every time he keeps kind of putting me in the spotlight, it's like, why can't I be behind the scenes? I don't want to be in the spotlight, obviously. But he's trying to get me out of my comfort zone. He's trying to kick me out of the nest. That's kind of what's happening now. So I'm so excited about this ministry because I feel like it's going to help so many people like myself. There's so many of us out there that we're just told we're just not good enough. We're not worthy. And this is just how life's going to be until we die. And if God is my witness, I do not. I'm hoping this ministry defeats that, rebukes that in Jesus' name. Seriously, don't believe the hype on that. Like I said, get you some new support system. It's that you don't need to. Family's not always what they're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Get you a new support system. We can't choose our family, but we can choose our circle, our support system. And so that's my story in a nutshell. I mean, obviously there's more to it, but now I'm a minister, officially a minister. Now the ministry is introduced out there now. Now it's in session. So if people are interested in joining the online community, go ahead and check it out, S.Q Ministries on Facebook, or go ahead and check out the website, sqscommunity.com. Just for more information, there's an upcoming info session on January 31st at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's a virtual event. If you are interested in participating, learning more about S.Q Ministries, or if you would like to join the ministry, make sure to register at the website that is in the About section, I believe, on here. So you can tell I'm not really a YouTuber. So all the information should be included in this testimony video. So that is all. I wanted to kind of see what would come out, because that was the other thing. I didn't know what would come out in my testimony. I feel like some of this stuff I've talked about in my business, like when it comes to my story. I feel like I was already kind of telling my testimony, but so I didn't really know what I was going to say. And I also tried to write, I got an ebook series too, Mask Wounds, and that was my first step of trying to tell my story. And so check that out too, Mask Wounds ebook series on Amazon. Check that out, or the website. And that was my first time really processing my story, processing everything that I've just kind of put on the back burner and just never thought about it again. And when you have trauma, that's what you do. You automatically just put things in the back and you just don't think about it anymore. There's things people still talk to me about that I don't remember. But that's what you see here, this collage. This is my first time doing this. It's very personal, and that's the point. This collage is a glimpse of all the things I've been through. I've been through losses. The picture there with my dad, that's very intimate, but that was when he was on life support, so before his passing. And, like I said, the loss of loved ones, that collage of loved ones that I lost there, as well as blessings. So I got my two younger boys on that collage as well, that I'm currently raising. So it seems like even though I lost a lot, I didn't think I was going to be a mom again because of everything that's happened, everything, losing my kiddos. I thought, okay, well, I don't know what else I'm supposed to do because I'm just so used to being a mom. And that's what happens. If it is something you're supposed to be, or a role that God did have for your life, regardless of how things look, he will double it or replace it, and or multiply it. And thank goodness he did not do that. So the ones I lost at that time, replaced, and now I got some boys that they be off the chain at times, but they're definitely blessings. So I have one on the spectrum, and I have one that has ADHD as well. So, of course, it's not, I don't have, I don't have simple situations, and that's okay. Because again, I feel like everything I have been through, all the obstacles, everything that's happened, my testimony in general, is him preparing me for what's to come. Again, I'm in my messy middle. I'm not where I'm supposed to be yet, but I'm nowhere near where I was. So everything I'm going through, even my current obstacles, my current trials, this is all preparing me for my life in the ministry work. I believe my life, as a wife, my life, as a small business owner, my life, just as a friend to the people that are back in my life. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, this is my first time, guys. I'm 36 years old. This is my first time having healthy relationships. And I'm only in 6 months of DBT, and this is my first time having all healthy relationships. And it's foreign to me because I'm not used to it. But this is my first time, and it's only because of God. It's only because of God. He connected me to all the resources I needed. And again, in my situation, I was a hot mess. I needed everything, all the resources I could get, because I was in denial for such a long time. But I'm hoping that my testimony, as well as the collage of, giving you a visual, a glimpse of all the things I have been through. Like I said, jail, low self-esteem, addiction, identity, purpose, like being lost in this world, having everything be depending on people and society. That does not last, and you're always looking and searching and wanting more, because our flesh is designed for that. We're always going to want. Nothing's ever good enough. But if we put that into God and Jesus and actually just having a relationship with him, that is going to change the game. As you can see, literally all I did was get baptized and finally surrender. And you see how he accelerated everything just in a year. It hasn't even been an official year yet, and he has accelerated so much. When you are on the path where you're supposed to be, he will accelerate what's in his will. Does that mean you'll be prosperous? Prosperous. Oh my gosh, prosperous. Thank you. Prosperous. As far as wealthy and rich and all this other stuff. No, like, sometimes yes, but that's not the point. The point is to being a good person, a good heart, someone that values the things they're supposed to value, like friends and family and your relationship with Christ. And your relationship with Christ should be like how I'm talking to you right now. Prayer, talking to him on a regular, getting him in on everything that you're worried about, what you're happy about, talking to him on a regular, like your best friend or like a parent, bringing things to him on a regular basis. And I know it's funny and it's weird because he's not in the flesh, and I deal with that at times too. I'm like, I feel kind of crazy because you're not like right here in front of me, like in the flesh. And I get that. And that's where faith and hope and all of that, I'll keep talking about that later on in a different episode, obviously, or a different video. But basically, that's where faith and having hope and having and just believing, that everything's going to work out. And it's like, you can't always just go off of how things work out. But he's doing that as well. Like, hey, I know you struggle with this, but I'm going to continue showing it, even though he doesn't have to. He just keeps showing me that he's in it, that he's still working on my behalf, me and my family's behalf, not just mine. And it's for the purpose to just keep bringing as many people as we can to the kingdom of heaven, because we need that. At the end of the day, that is what it's all about. And that we are loved, that we are wanted, that we are desired, that we don't have to degrade ourselves and put our identity and our worth in people that we want to love, like we want them to love us, whether that's a parent or a guardian or a spouse or a significant other. Put that in Jesus, and I'm telling you, the game will change for you. Your perspective, your self-esteem, and people will not get to you like they are, like they might be doing, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to go on this roller coaster ride that you're currently on. It changes the game. I'm telling you, it really does. So that is all. I'm going to stop now, but I'm really hoping this testimony did something for you. You guys that are listening, I'm hoping that it gave you some type of hope. I've been getting that parental nudge to do my testimony for a while now. And I've been dragging my feet as always. So yes, I'm still that prodigal, rebellious person at times. Prodigal daughter. I call myself Peter Retta because I still got rough edges. Peter Retta instead of Peter. So that's me.